Hello, everyone. Thanks for checking out the channel. Big Blue Jabroni here. Sunday snap count here with Giants Alliance. We're going to be talking some general Giants football topics, also just some other news around the NFL as well. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to hear us say, make sure you put it in the comments. And how are you doing today, Dave?
I'm good, man. I'm excited. We have like 3 weeks until the Giants Steelers, so I'm excited. We'll have actual football to talk about next Sunday. We actually have real football to watch because they're going to be televising that game. So
This
this
great.
is the last. This is the last Sunday for a long time where we won't have football, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool.
We were talking about this a little bit earlier, but what are your thoughts on what Bill Parcells said to Joe Judge? Do you think that's because he likes what he's doing, or do you think that he thinks he's doing a little bit too much and he's telling him to slow down? Basically, all Bill Parcells said was just be yourself. Don't try and be anyone else. Don't try and be what his big quote was. Don't try and be Bill Parcells, the head football coach. Just be Bill Parcells. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's good advice. And Joe Judge even said that during his press conference. Basically, I'm going to be myself. I'm not going to be Belichick. I'm not going to be Saban. And I don't think Parcells was accusing Joe Judge of being just like Belichick because he heard that he's making them run laps and he's being like really strict. But I think he's just trying to give him general advice. And I saw there was another article recently where Nate Ebner said that Joe Judge is very much different and it's actually refreshing from Bill Belichick in that he's more personable and he's not serious like all the time like Belichick is. So I do think he is being himself, and I feel like there's certain things I actually think Judge is better at than Belichick, like dealing with the media. Um, Obviously, Belichick is like the greatest football coach of all time, but Nate Ebner has said that Joe Judge puts more emphasis on like relationships with the players, which is a good sign. I think that's going to help him, especially if he doesn't have a track record yet. So doesn't have to worry about that stuff as much because he gets so much respect from his aura and like what he's done in the league. So I think Judge is. I feel like he's doing everything right, but we're gonna have to see when the games actually start how effective his coaching is.
Actually, I just got some breaking news on my phone. Earl Thomas officially got released from the Ravens.
Yeah, I saw that. So it's official. Yeah, I saw that they were going to either release or trade him today. So it's official that he's released. And yeah, he had that crazy story about like he was like cheating with his wife or whatever. But he's such a good player still. I know he's 31 years old, which is old in like NFL terms, but he is a really good player. So yeah, I'm kind of worried the Cowboys are going to get him. That's such a
From
Cowboys
Dallas.
move to like draft him. You know what I mean? So would you be worried if Dallas picked him up? Because I feel like that's their only weakness is in the secondary, and him and Clinton Dix next to each other. I feel like that would be a pretty good combo.
Also, he just left the Ravens. He's going to want to go to a contender. He's not going to go to whatever team gives him the most money. And the Cowboys were apparently, I mean, if you remember when he broke it, when he was still in Seattle and they were in Dallas after the game when he ran over and was like, hey guys, come get me, come get me. He's wanted to play in Dallas. They don't have much money, but I don't think he's going to beg for a ton of money or ask for a ton of money. I think he's just going to want to play for the Cowboys. But I hope not. I hope he signs to like the Dolphins or something. We can keep him out of our division.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want him in the NFC East. Like even if he went to the Eagles, that would be bad too. I don't think the Redskins are going to sign him. He's going to go to a contender because he's a free agent. He could like choose where he wants to go. So, yeah, he's. It seems like weird because the Ravens are a really good team. They're like a Super Bowl contender. So he makes them a much better team on the field. So for them to release him at this point, it's not for his play. It's not that they think he's washed up. It's got to be stuff that he's done off the field, or they think he's not good for chemistry, or he's being like a team cancer or something like that. Because he's a really good safety. He makes that team a lot better. And I noticed Jesse Bryan's here. What's up, man? He
Hey,
yeah.
also, I have a bit of a conspiracy theory. Do you think it could be okay? Let's get rid of this guy, and now they can go all in and try and trade for a unique for the 1 year deal.
Oh, are you talking about the Ravens would
Yeah.
trade for Yannick? That's a possibility. I don't think they would, but yeah,
Because there
that's
was
definitely a
rumors he was going to
possibility.
be there within the hour, and then all of a sudden those trade talks kind of broke up, and he's still stuck in Jacksonville. So now that they might have some extra free money, I hope that's not well. If so, that would be even a good case for the Giants because I don't see them signing him long term. I kind of see a team going all out for 1 year. So that's why I feel like you getting rid of a player as good as Earl Thomas must mean you have something up your sleeve or there's something you're really working on in the back end.
Yeah, I could see them actually going for Yannick because when the Ravens defense is at its best, like they had Terrell Suggs in his prime. They always had like really good pass rushers like Adelius Thomas and going back, they've always had good outside linebackers and
They also have Judon on the franchise tag.
yeah, he's a really good. I know he's going to be a free agent next year. Some people have talked about the Giants maybe going after someone like that next year, but it's crazy to think about the Jaguars. How do you remember a couple of years ago they were in the AFC Championship game? They had like Jalen Ramsey, they had Calais Campbell, Yannick, they had Tevin Smith. Like all these guys are gone now, and like AJ.
Yeah, they're
Like
all
the
gone.
defense was so good and so young, and then they just got like rid of everyone. They're probably one of the worst teams in the league now in regards to talent. But yeah, it's crazy to think about how fast things changed in the NFL.
I think that owner wants to move that team to London so bad to where if he thinks like he could put on such a bad product and no one shows up, he can kind of go to the NFL and be like, "Hey guys, it doesn't work here. We're gonna have to move this thing."
Yeah, they would be a candidate to move. It is kind of strange that Jacksonville has a team because it's not like the biggest city, and like I remember they had the Super Bowl there a few years ago,
And it was
and
a mess.
people didn't like it. Yeah, it wasn't like a Super Bowl kind of city. In my opinion, the Super Bowl should always be in the same few places, like Los Angeles, Miami, Dallas. They have that really nice stadium now, but like New Orleans. But it's weird when they try to change like the site of the Super Bowl to like New York when it was in New York that one time in MetLife.
Yeah, they got lucky and the weather wasn't that bad, but it could have been terrible.
Yeah, like I just feel like the Super Bowl should be in like certain cities. Jacksonville doesn't seem. I mean, yeah, I don't know if they should really have a team, but it doesn't seem like they have like a hardcore fan base at the same time, you know. So I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up moving.
I would love to see them move to either like Oklahoma or like San Antonio. I
Yeah,
don't want to see an international team at all. I feel like they're going to kind of force it eventually one day. Like I can definitely see a team in like Toronto or something like that.
yeah.
But I just feel like, I guess it's not my money. I don't care as much about the international dollars. You see how popular soccer is. So they see like they want to tap into that. But having a team in London is just way too far. It does not make any sense. The guys always complain when they have to go there. You got to line up everyone's bye week basically if they have to go to London. So like I just feel like it would be a nightmare.
Yeah, it would be tough like for the players. I mean, once a season, it's not bad, but if you're traveling from London like all the time, that's got to be tough on those players who actually play there are on the London team. Yeah, so I don't think that's going to be anytime soon. But like you said, it seems like they're trying to expand internationally in different ways. Like Sandro Platzgummer, the Giants running back, he's from Austria because they started that program where they have every year a different division gets those like international players, and this is the NFC East year, and he gets a spot on the practice squad where we actually get an extra practice squad player because he's like an exemption where he'll automatically be on it without taking up a spot. So I think that kind of stuff's cool because you're going to get a lot of people from Austria wanting to watch Giants games because he's on the team. Or I'm not sure if he's going to end up playing this year, but I did see like the training camp video where like you could see them practicing and he was with the second team and he looked pretty good. Have you been able to watch like the training camp like highlights and stuff? Have you gotten anything out of it?
I try to watch all the interviews. I feel like I get more out of the interviews than just like the clips that they put up or some of the videos. Because I'm like, okay, well, the team's putting out the video. Of course, they'll have a video of like Leonard Williams doing great against Andrew Thomas, and you go, oh, I'm worried about Andrew Thomas. Then the next video is Andrew Thomas running a guy over, and you're like, oh, well, I don't know about that. And then the next video is OJ Jimenez running over. Like, I feel like I'm seeing the pattern of what they're doing, and like I understand it's camp. Some guys are gonna get over the other. I will watch the scrimmage. I'm very excited to watch the scrimmage, but I'm not going to make a basement of the team off of whatever I see off of there. Also, I hear that the defense is way ahead of the offense, which always makes sense.
Yeah,
Offense is like complicated. You got to run things out. Everything has to be perfect and smooth. Defense, you just have to blow it up. So, I mean, that doesn't. It'd be great to hear, and it's nice to hear that the defense has stepped up, but it's not something I expect to see for the season.
Yeah, I agree. And I think our defensive scheme is probably not going to be as complicated as it has been in the past, where players can just like use their instincts and attack and like dive into the backfield and make plays. And I think that's the kind of scheme that, you know, Patrick Graham wants. And it's a good sign. Like Dexter Lawrence supposedly looks really good. But certain drills where you see like a one-on-one, there was a clip of like O'Shane Jimenez against Evan Ingram. And Ingram was trying to like pass block, and he's not going to really pass block in the games. And Jimenez is a really good pass rusher, and like Ingram just looked really bad in that 1 5-second clip. So I don't think fans should like overreact to that stuff. We already know that Ingram's not a strong blocker, but he is getting better as a run blocker, I feel like. And if the Giants are going to pass the ball and Ingram's on the field, he's not going to be like on the line to block. You know, maybe Tololo or Kaden Smith once in a while, but they're going to use him to his strengths, I think.
But then they also showed a couple hours later him making this great sideline catch.
Yeah, and I don't think people should overreact. I don't think most people are, but I guess some people on Twitter are always going to overreact to certain things that they see in those like short clips. Like James Bradbury was getting beat a couple times, but during training camp, you're going to get beat a lot as a cornerback. It's such a hard position to play, and there's no like pass rush. And even like the undrafted free agent receivers are beating Bradbury once in a while, but it's understandable because the quarterback's getting all day to throw. And I've seen Bradbury make some nice plays too, where he like broke up a couple passes in the end zone and stuff. So I'm not worried about like certain clips I see. And then I know like Andrew Thomas, he got beat by Lorenzo Carter and a couple of other guys. And the beat reporters were like tweeting about it, but I don't overreact to that kind of stuff because you don't really know exactly what they're practicing, if they're like learning a new technique or something like that. So yeah, I guess people I don't think most people are, but I think there are some people that overreact to what they hear about what's going on in practice.
Yeah, I just feel like the social media team has done a really good job of like, okay, if a guy gets beat in the last highlight, the next highlight is like obviously, like there's going to be guys. They say Julian Love has played amazing, which I'm really excited to hear. I haven't heard as much about Peppers as I thought I was going into this because he looked like he was in amazing shape. The whole offseason, he looked like he was as all in as possible, wants to be a leader, yada, yada, yada. And I feel like I've heard stories about McKinney. I've heard stories about Love. I've heard stories that or whoever, but I feel like out of someone who we expect a lot out of this defense, it's been a little quiet on his front, but I haven't heard anything bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about players I've seen. Like I posted a clip of Benjamin Victor against Darnay Holmes, and Darnay Holmes has been the one getting the most praise out of anyone almost in the entire team, like at training camp and how he's performed at practice. Like he probably had the highlight of the entire training camp when he picked off Daniel Jones in the end zone, and it was a long pass. But yeah, there was one play where Benjamin Victor looked really good, and he kind of ran by Benjamin Victor ran by Darnay Holmes. Victor's not known to have elite speed, and Holmes is, but Victor had like a second gear, and I tweeted that video, and it got like 1,200 likes, and it's gone viral. And I think I think we actually have a lot of really good receiving depth. Like I think our starting receivers are really good, but I do like our backups because I feel like that might be really important in a year like this to have good depth at wide receiver. So I'm feeling pretty good about the receivers. What do you think about them?
Well, also another thing that doesn't help the defense right now is the whole entire route tree is open. Like eventually, once you get into the season or you start to know guys, you go, okay, well, this guy runs these 3 routes more or less. He runs a this, this, and this. And then you can play it off of that. They're in this formation. And so you can really start to take away certain plays. But in a whole new offense, whole new defense, they have, it seems like guys, well, everything is open. So that's got to be much tougher for the defense.
Yeah, that's really true. And it's going to be rare for cornerbacks to be like on an island with a receiver one-on-one, where a lot of times you have like safety help over the top or a linebacker like, over the middle to help you out in certain situations. So yeah, it's the receivers always have advantages in those kind of drills where they're just going one-on-one against each other. But yeah, it's fun to watch though. I like watching those like clips to see how the players look in practice. But the most I get out of it is just like how they look like physically. And like Daniel Jones looks really good. I saw a thing recently where the quarterback's coach, Shaplinski, I think is how you say his name, but he said that Jones improved his arm strength a lot because he studied him during the pre-draft process when our quarterback's coach was with New England. And Jones looks a lot like stronger, obviously, but his arm strength has improved, which I think is a really good sign. Because that was one of the knocks that Jones, he had the fumbling issue in college, but he also had some critics saying he didn't have a strong enough arm. But I think his arm is strong enough. I thought it was last year, but this year it's supposedly even better. So I think that's a really good sign.
Obviously, the beat writers would have shown this up if it happened already, but obviously in camp you can't get anywhere near the quarterback. But I haven't heard about him putting the ball on the ground at all. I heard a botch center quarterback exchange, and they made him run the lap for that. But I haven't heard guys swiping at the ball or like guys going to try and get it. But it is also the quarterback in camp. Like no one's probably allowed to get within 10 feet of him.
Yeah. That would be bad if Jones got hit by like that happens sometimes in camp when like someone's trying to make the team and prove a point, where there'll be like an undrafted free agent defensive end try to like hit the quarterback but yeah, I'm sure they emphasize that big time to protect Daniel Jones. But somebody else who's looked pretty good is McCoy. So I feel like this is probably our best backup quarterback in a really long time, maybe since like David Carr. Because we haven't had to use our backup quarterback with Eli, but not every quarterback is like Eli. So if McCoy needs to play for a couple games, I'd feel better about him than our like most recent backup quarterbacks.
Well, see, this is where it gets tough for Joe Judge because I've heard Colt McCoy, like you said, is absolutely on fire. So what happens if this just continues and you keep talking about competition Tuesdays? Daniel Jones is going to play week 1, whatever he does in practice or not. Like he's the franchise. This is what we have everything built in for. But do you think he starts scheming some harder stuff for McCoy? So it's like, okay, settle down. Like we need Daniel Jones to shine here a little bit.
Nah, I don't think so. I think everybody kind of understands Daniel Jones was the 6th overall pick, and he played pretty good as a rookie. So even if McCoy outplayed Jones by a lot, I don't think there's anyone on the team that thinks like, oh, maybe McCoy should be in there instead of Jones. I don't think anyone would even like think that. So yeah, it is good though that McCoy looks good because, like I said before, like it's important to have a good backup quarterback in the NFL because like last year, Kansas City, Mahomes was down for a few games, but they were able to hold their own. I forget who their back. I think Matt Moore was their backup. So it's important to have an adequate backup quarterback because you never know what can happen in this, especially in a season like this.
How many quarterbacks do you want us to carry? We're obviously not going to carry 4. The real question is if we're going to carry 2 or if we're going to carry 3. I imagine we'll carry 3 just to have extra brains in the quarterback room trying to like help and mold a young quarterback.
Yeah.
What do you think they're going to go with 2 and 3, and who are they going to go with?
Yeah, like I actually think 2 is better. It used to be when I was younger, I feel like there was always 3 quarterbacks on the depth chart, but I've noticed more and more teams have only carried 2. And my philosophy is if 2 of your quarterbacks get hurt during a game, you're probably not going to win anyway. So it's better to have an extra body at like receiver or somebody you can use on special teams. So I think if you get up to your third string quarterback, you know, you're not going to win. And like having someone like David Sills could be an emergency. I know they've always talked about during training camp that they're cross training players to play multiple positions. Sills was a quarterback at West Virginia when he first got there. He was recruited as a 13-year-old by Lane Kiffin at UFC. So maybe he could be like your third string quarterback if they carry like 5 or 6 receivers and just 2 quarterbacks, because hopefully it never comes to that where 2 quarterbacks get injured in the same game. I think Cooper Rush could be like the scout team quarterback. That's what I'm thinking. They'll carry 2 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster, and then Cooper Rush, since he's a somebody familiar with Jason Garrett's offense, he could run the scout team and like maybe help out in the quarterback room, like you said. So that's what I would do.
So we both agree Taney's gone, obviously. Obviously, he has that great rapport with Daniel Jones. They seem to be buddy and friends, but at the end of the day, we're trying to make a roster here, and it's just not going to work out. I think they are going to carry 3 quarterbacks, though. I think Jason Garrett's going to kind of do his buddy a solid and somehow keep Cooper Rush on the roster by hook or crook, because I really think it's just because Colt McCoy is playing too well right now. Every report says that he is slinging the rock around. They're not going to be able to cut him and then try and justify it. Daniel Jones obviously going to be the starter. Going forward for hopefully multiple years. Very excited, but I think Cooper Rush is going to just sneak into that quarterback room just because of the Garrett connection and him kind of being like, this guy in the QB room is really good for all of us. You wouldn't believe how much he's actually done for Dak in Dallas.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Cooper Rush, because he's familiar with the system, and like it definitely helps to have someone that's actually played in Jason Garrett's offense. And I know I don't think Garrett's going to play exactly like the Cowboys did last year, because I think Joe Judge's like fingerprints are going to be on every part of the team, and he's going to have a say in the game plan and what plays are run. And he seems very inclined to just change your game plan depending on the matchup and not be like scheme dependent. So I could see the Giants like certain weeks playing with like a lot of 2 tight end sets or maybe even 3 tight end sets if he thinks that rush defense is a weakness of the other team and we have like advantages in our personnel, where other weeks maybe we don't even run the ball that much and we just air it out with 3 or 4 receivers. So I feel like that's going to be the kind of team we're going to try to be. But yeah, we'll see. I think the Steelers are going to be such a tough defense to go against in our first ever game, because they have 2 really good pass rushers. Like Devin Bush is a good linebacker. Minkah Fitzpatrick, like their defense is loaded. So I wish we were playing like an easier team to kind of like ease into the season with our new offense. But yeah, we're going to definitely be tested right away.
Well, also, if you're Jason Garrett, all right, your offense coordinator, that's great. You're happy you have a job. But at the end of the day, you want to be a head coach again. And if you go out there and you run the offense that you ran 10 years ago with Tony Romo, guys are going to call you dated, and that's it. Like, it's going to get wrapped up for you. Like, he's going to have to kind of want to reinvent himself a little bit here to make himself look good so he can hopefully eventually get another head coaching job down the road. So I do expect to see a bit of a different offense. It's still going to be Air Coryell. It's still going to have, obviously, big, a lot of runs, big on the tight ends. Like, there are just certain staples into the offense I think we'll see. But he hasn't gotten to call plays in the last couple of years in Dallas. They gave that job to Kellen Moore. And I think he's going to be try and show up, put his chest out a little bit and be like, this is why I was calling plays for as long as I did. This is why I got a head coaching job. I do know what I'm doing here. I expect to see it more or less the basis, but I do expect to see some more creativity and a little bit more cleverness out of the offense that we've seen out of a Jason Garrett offense. And also Saquon Barkley, because he can catch the ball so well out of the backfield. Zeke can catch the ball as well, don't get me wrong, but they're just different animals. They're just different type of running backs. And I think he's going to be, being that he's gone against Saquon the last couple of years in the division, he has probably been chomping at the bits to be like, I wish I had a guy like that on my team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's going to be a little more creative than he was because like I've talked to my friends who are Cowboys fans, and like whenever I mention Jason Garrett, they say he's such a bad play caller and he's so predictable. So that did worry me a little bit when we first hired him, and I wasn't too excited about the hire. But I do like that Mark Colombo came with him, and I do like our quarterbacks coach. I do like him with Joe Judge maybe working together to come up with game plans. But yeah, I hope he's more creative. He's definitely going to be motivated. Like when we play Dallas, he was their head coach for a long time, so he's I'm sure he's a prideful guy, and he doesn't want to get shown up by his former team. So I could definitely see him maybe being rejuvenated in a sense, and maybe coming up with like better schemes and better plays, being a little more creative. Because Dallas is going to think, oh, we already know this guy. We've been with him for like 10 years. So yeah, Jason Garrett. I mean, Garrett was the offensive coordinator back in like 2007 when we won the Super Bowl and we beat that 13-3 Cowboys team. So yeah, he's been with that team for a long time. But yeah, I hope he does well. I think the offense will be pretty good. I just hope the offensive line could hold it together. I'm a little worried. I'm more worried about the defense than the offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the offense, even if they're not creative or whatever, there's just so much talent. I feel like they can kind of just make it work. With Andrew Thomas there now, obviously, hopefully solidifying that line with Colombo, like you said. So you'd expect I haven't met a single Giants fan yet who doesn't expect the Giants season out of Saquon Barkley yet. You see, like in all these fantasy leagues, he's going above Christian McCaffrey, who had about an all-time great season last year. So I think even if things break down or if the offensive line doesn't click as early on, he can just kind of bail you out and give you like some garbage time yards where he just makes two guys misses and takes it up the seam. But Daniel Jones is the real deal. I was one of the idiots who was screaming on draft day, what are we doing? What are we thinking? And he proved me wrong. He shut me up early on. So I think if you have a quarterback and you got a running back and you're improving the line, I don't know what else you can ask for out of an offense. We don't have that number one, but I'm not worried about that going into the season. We have definitely enough solid receivers to where we can run any sort of offense we want through the wide receivers.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I wanted to tell you last night, like I was in this meeting with OGR's here.
Hey,
what's up,
OGR? How's it going, man?
How's it going, man? Yeah, so last night I was in this meeting. There's this guy Alex Fleming, who he worked for I forget the name of the website. I think it's the Bucks Report, and he was a writer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he asked me to be on this show called the NFL Carousel, where each NFL team gets a fan. So I'm going to represent the Giants. And then every week, like we play the Steelers the first week, we have like a 5-minute debate about who's going to win the game and who has a better team. Like a trash talking kind of game, kind of like show like that. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be on a bunch of platforms like YouTube and Facebook and Stitcher and all that stuff, like a podcast as well. So I'm excited about that. It's pretty cool. He said he's going to get a bunch of like sponsors and stuff. So
man, that's cool, man.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. It'll be fun.
So do you have your debate ready for week 1?
Yeah, it's funny. Like some people representing their team are like writers for different websites, or but the Steelers representative is like a 13-year-old kid. So I'm gonna be like debating. Yeah, I already know what I'm gonna say. I don't want to give away too much, but like I'm gonna definitely I'm gonna trash Ben Roethlisberger because he's so old, and he's not like exactly like Tom Brady where he's on the TB12 method and he's taking care of himself. So
also that guy's been playing in the NFL since before that kid was born. So
yeah, right. If he's 13, yeah. So he was like -4 years old when Roethlisberger was drafted. So I'll talk about that's a good point. I'm gonna talk about that, and that'll be cool because like. We had a meeting last night on it was a StreamYard meeting where like there was fans of like different teams, and I don't know exactly when it's going to start, but I'm probably going to promote it on like Twitter when there's more information about it.
That's awesome, man. Do you know if any of the teams in Florida are allowing any fans? Because they showed that there's going to be 22% capacity on the first day for the Chiefs versus Houston.
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't heard anything about the Florida teams. I don't think they've made a definitive statement yet, but it seems really unlikely. Like Florida is probably one of the worst places in the entire country, or if it probably is the worst in regards to the virus at this point. And like the Marlins, some people were even talking about not letting the Marlins have any home games in the state of Florida anymore because I know they had an issue recently. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't foresee any of the Florida teams letting fans in the stands at like Miami or Tampa Bay, yeah, maybe even Jacksonville. But what I would do, I would try to make like multiple bubbles. I don't know if the NFL could do this, and it would be kind of crazy logistically. But I think they should have like 3 or 4 cities, and then each city is like a bubble, and they're not allowed to leave unless they go into like a different bubble or something. That's what I think the NFL should do. But did you get to watch Hard Knocks? Because in Hard Knocks, it gave me a little bit of hope where you saw how careful like the Rams and the Chargers were being, and they were wearing masks during practice and stuff. So that was making me a little more hopeful because they were showing what training camp was like during COVID, and it was definitely a lot different. So it seemed like they were taking a lot of precautions and stuff.
I mean, there's definitely going to be a positive. Well, we saw what a couple teams were dealing with today with a bunch of false positive tests. I
Yeah.
thought, I think it was Bears, Minnesota, the Jets. There's a bunch of teams. So hopefully that cleared up. And there are going to be positive tests. It's going to happen. It's a lot of people, a lot of moving parts, especially if you're traveling across the country. I do believe the NFL does have a contingency plan that the owners are aware of right now. They're going to just try and kind of play a little dumb right now because the reporters every day. What happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? And I don't think they want to like basically lay all their cards on the hand now. Like they don't want to just give it all away because they want to play it by ear and then they have a couple things lined up of how they want to do it. But so far they do seem like they want to play a full season, and I don't think they're really telling guys, hey, you have to be in a bubble. We're going to send you guys all down in one location. But I think they do have made it very clear, especially through the coaching staffs, these guys have to be responsible. They got to take this serious. You got to somehow drill it into their heads you got to stay inside. Especially, well, I guess it's got to be easier for the Giants and Jets right now because in the Jersey area, everything's basically closed. If you want to go out somewhere to eat, it's outdoor dining where you're only allowed to have so many people there and things like that. But obviously, guys can get themselves in trouble very easy. But as long as you really let them know, like, how serious or what is on the line here and your game checks, that's what's really going to – that's going to be the sentence that perks their ears up. Just hopefully guys take it serious. And if a guy can get it, that you're able to just isolate a couple players or a unit compared to the entire 53-man roster.
Yeah. And the thing that worries me too is not just like the players going out and like going to like a restaurant or a bar at night or something. What would worry me is just the players' family members could like bring it to them if like they're living with them, you know what I mean? So it's such a tricky issue. But yeah, I'm hoping that they can play a season. I know it's gonna be most likely there's going to be like weeks where games are going to have to be like canceled or postponed. You know what I mean? Like if like 4 or 5 players all test positive at once, and I don't know how they can make up a game like that. So I just hope, I hope it doesn't come to that. But hopefully, like by the middle of the season or something, there's a vaccine, and then that could improve things. You know, I hope that's the case.
I hope that's the case. I'm not counting on it, unfortunately. But I do think they have some contingency plans in place. As like we talked about once the schedule came out, that a lot of the division games are kind of bunched in together for a lot of the teams in case you have to lose some things on the front and back end. But I hope it doesn't come to that. And with the guys not being in a bubble, there really hasn't been a lot of positive tests. There really hasn't been like an outbreak of a team or anything like that yet. And like you said, well, I haven't watched Hard Knocks yet. I will eventually watch all of it, but if it sounds like guys they have to, but they're taking it serious, and it seems to be all steers go. Hey, Mr. Mini Guy in the chat.
Hey, what's up, Mr. Mini Guy? Thanks for coming. Yeah, I think they're definitely gonna try. The NFL is gonna try whatever it takes. They're gonna have a season. I'm not too hopeful about college football, but I could actually foresee like the SEC and maybe the ACC having a season. It's going to be weird without all the other major conferences in it, but maybe the Big 12 too. It seems like the states that are more conservative and those conferences are going to have college football season, but like the Pac-12 on the West Coast and then the Big 10 in the Midwest, they're going to cancel. I mean, they already canceled it. So, do you think college football will actually have a season in the spring, like the Big 10? Would it be like the SEC plays in the fall and then like the Big 10 plays in the spring? Do you think that can actually happen?
It seems that it's going to go that route. And then now I think the mess that you've really created is, okay, well, when do you start the season next year? Because these
Oh
other
yeah.
kids haven't played in a year, and these other kids played 6 months ago. They can't play each other now. Like the state of Ohio is a mess right now. You have high school football going on,
Oh, you
no
do?
testing, hope
Wow.
for the best, no college football, and then you have professional football.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I know in New York, like every school is open in New York, like the entire state, I think. But New York's a lot better than other places. And then in Florida, where I am, it depends on the school district. So some like, yeah, it's weird. I didn't realize that in Ohio, their high school football like season was going on. I just assumed that like all high school sports would be canceled this year, like in the
I did
fall.
too. Yeah.
But I didn't realize that. And then I know like Justin Fields, the quarterback for Ohio State, started a petition and he has like 300,000 signatures to bring a season back. I don't think that's going to work, but it's
No.
just, yeah, I feel bad for those players because imagine you're a senior this year and this was your year to finally get playing time and then maybe get noticed for the NFL draft. Like those players are, you know, it's going to be tough for those kind of guys. I feel bad for them.
Well, Justin Fields is obviously going to go pretty high in the draft, but maybe he could have won a Heisman, beat out Lawrence, and then all of a sudden some people have a debate going into the drafts. But I think because RG3 versus Andrew Luck, it really came down to the wire. Kind of seemed like some people liked what's his name more, Robert
RG3.
more, but I don't think he was going to be able to have that type of season. But I mean, should have been he should have been at least given the opportunity. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's crazy that both of them had such short careers. Like, I mean, RG3 is actually still a backup in the NFL, but he
Yeah.
wasn't the same after. Like, he was so good. Remember his like first year? I think it was his rookie year, right, when he made the playoffs, and then he
Yeah.
got hurt in the playoff game again because he probably came back too soon. But he was such a dynamic player. He was a good passer. He was so fast, but his body type was kind of skinny. So I hope Lamar Jackson can have a better career because he definitely runs the ball and he takes a little bit of a beating because they have design runs and stuff for him. But do you think Lamar Jackson could have like a long career the way he plays, or he's gonna have to like start staying in the pocket more?
It's just his body frame that terrifies me. Like when I see him run around the open field, like sometimes I flinch. Like he just doesn't look that
He doesn't.
big.
He's not like big like Cam Newton, right?
Yeah, like or Russell Wilson. Like that guy's wide. He's a big
Yeah,
body. Like
Wilson's short, but he's pretty well built, right?
yeah, he's too fast, and it's like I was completely wrong. After the playoff game against the Chargers, I thought, okay, the league figured him out. He's ruined. They're going to be stuck with him for a
Yeah, he
little
was
bit.
so good last year.
And then he was like video game esque last year, all season. He was as good as humanly possible. Obviously, they failed in the playoffs again, but I think that was kind of more of a team effort, not just him. But I find it so hard to believe that this is going to work for long term. Like he will always be the fastest guy on the field for the next couple of years. That's no debating. He is that good. He's that fast. He's that great in open field. But there's a reason you got to pass from the pocket. And I'm not saying he can't do that, but that's not his bread and butter. And I just feel like eventually, I don't think he's going to really get figured out because I mean, you see every big high school and college prospect, they're all dual threat quarterbacks. Like you have to be even Eli Manning's nephew is a dual threat quarterback. Like
Is he really?
gotta be
I saw an article recently. He's like the number one player in his class, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's graduating high school until like 2023.
Yeah.
But that's so cool. There's another Manning, and his name's Arch, like Arch Manning. But Yeah, Mini Guy says RG3 was rushed back from his injury. Yeah, because like in that playoff game, I don't think he was 100%, and then he got hurt again, and that messed up his whole career basically. And I think they ended up losing that game too. So I remember that was the older Shanahan. That was his decision. So yeah, it's crazy. Like I think Lamar Jackson could be really good because he's a really good pocket passer. I think he's going to be good long term. He just has to like figure out ways like Russell Wilson to not get like hit in the open field, protect himself more, and not take big hits. Um, Mark Andrews is somebody to really target in fantasy football. He's such a good tight end for the Ravens.
No,
So
Hollywood Brown. That's going to be
Hollywood Brown is going to be a beast too. Yeah.
He gained like 25 pounds of muscle this offseason.
Yeah, Mini Guy, I don't know if you're still here, but I need a couple more people in my fantasy league. We're doing a 2 quarterback league. Big Blue Jabroni's in it. Nick DeWick, a couple of guys from the YouTube community. So, yeah, that draft is going to be on Friday. I think it's like at 9 o'clock on Friday for the fantasy football league.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna have my dad draft my team for me because I'm gonna be at work.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, you trust your dad to do that?
Do it up for me.
Is he gonna? Are you gonna be able to like call him and he'll be like, "All right, I'm choosing between Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson."
To be honest, a Friday night at the restaurant, I work out at 9 o'clock. I'm going to be in the weeds.
Oh,
I'm going to get out of work and look at the lineup and hope for the best.
So is everyone like sitting outside, or is it like?
Yeah.
Right. Oh,
they
okay.
go down like the main street in Princeton, and like that's like now like an outdoor dining area for all the local restaurants.
Oh, okay. Do you watch the Barstool pizza reviews? The pizza reviews?
They're funny. That place Di Lorenzo's that got like a really great review is not that far from me.
Oh, really? Yeah,
that's like
he
where
actually
we used to go when I was a kid for like, oh, we're going to Di Lorenzo. It was like a big deal. It was like, oh, this is the best Trenton pie or whatever.
Yeah, he went to like 5 pizza places in my hometown recently. But I mentioned that because yesterday I was watching one of his reviews, and this like random girl walks up and wants to be on camera. She's like, my brother's a big fan. And she's like, can I have a piece? So he's like, yeah, go ahead. And she takes a bite of the pizza and she's like, it's too saucy. And she throws the pizza back on the box. And so like all her spit and all the old pizza that she just ate was like on top of his pizza. So I was like, this is not what you do, especially during COVID. But she got roasted, obviously, in all like the comments. She kind of deserved it. So I just thought that was funny.
Have you ever? Is there like a pizza place around you that you wanted him to try, like that you feel is the best pizza?
Yeah, actually, there's a really good pizza. Like Florida doesn't have a good pizza the same as like New York or New Jersey. New Jersey is like almost the same. Is New Jersey and New York the same in terms of pizza? Because I haven't eaten that much pizza in New Jersey, but the pizza I've had is like
pizza around here. But the best pizza is that place Di Lorenzo's, and they do a tomato pie where like or whatever, the tomato goes on top. I don't know why. That's just the fucking way it's supposed to go, and it's really good. They make it well, even though it doesn't sound as great. But yeah, there is another place that I really like, but like I knew Di Lorenzo's was going to be the place that gets like the score.
Yeah, like there were so many good pizza places where I grew up on Long Island. I grew up in this town called Northport, and there was literally like 12 pizza places within like a 5-minute drive of each other, and like 5 of them were like really good. And there's a pizza place near me that's really good, and Dave Portnoy didn't go there, but I kind of wanted him to because it's like by far the best in my area. But New York and New Jersey pizza is just so much better. Oh, Mini Guy says I don't know about fantasy football. That's cool. Yeah, it's a big commitment. Fantasy football, it's like if you're not like committed to it, your team's gonna be bad because you gotta like be on the waiver wire all the time and like setting your lineups like crazy.
Yeah,
so, it's a big time commitment.
You want to go for like maybe 5 more minutes and we'll call this?
Yeah, that's cool.
You're making that coffee look so good.
Yeah, it's the only thing keeping me awake. I only drink iced coffee. Are you a coffee drinker?
I got iced coffee upstairs waiting for me. We got 2 toddies. We're so sick. Like one thing of iced coffee isn't enough apparently.
Yeah, like I never used to like coffee. I'm 32 and I started drinking it like 2 years ago, and now it's just like I drink it every single day. just
I
to
used to drink it if I had to work really early in the morning because I thought like just more or less the hot liquid is waking me up. But all around highlights, thoughts on Earl Thomas maybe going to the Cowboys. Talked about this earlier. We both think it's going to happen. We're both terrified of it.
it's such a Jerry Jones move for him to get
Yeah.
Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas makes the Ravens a much better team on paper. So the only reason for them to release Earl Thomas is his off the field issues, and he's become too much of a headache because he's still a really good player. He's 31 years old. He would also make the Cowboys a much better team, but I don't. They're gonna, since he's like released, they're gonna have to sign him to a decent sized contract. He's gonna make them a much better team because the Cowboys' weakness is definitely the secondary. Like if they do have a weakness, and they have such a talented roster, if they get Earl Thomas in addition to Everson Griffin, DeMarcus Lawrence on like their defensive ends. I know McCoy is out for the season. McCoy, that was a bad loss, but they have really good linebackers with like Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch. So their defense could be really good if they got Earl Thomas. I'm hoping they don't, but I could definitely see that happening. I could definitely.
But also help those corners now that Byron Jones is gone, getting like as great of a center fielder as he is out there. Like he did cover a ton of ground.
Yeah, it's so rare to have a really good center fielder at safety. Like there's not that many of them. Like Devin McCourty in New England, Anthony Harris, Matthew, yeah, he's really good, but there's not that many safeties. Like even Jamal Adams, he's not that good as like a center field safety. He's a good strong safety. He's good in the box and stuff, but it's hard to find a safety like Earl Thomas. So that would be a good move by the Cowboys.
From the Dallas area, wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy before. Yeah. Obviously going to go with a contender. I think it's just a matter of time before he's a Cowboy, but I hope not.
Yeah, if I had to like pick one team, I would definitely pick Dallas for him to go to. But I'm sure there's other teams that would want him, even if he is a headache, even if he is he's had off the field issues recently. So
I could give you an off the wall team. What about the Browns?
I could see that too. They've kind of taken chances on guys that have been character concerns. So
also, you don't think he wants to play Baltimore twice this year now? He just got embarrassed by them.
Yeah, the Browns are so talented as well. I mean, Denzel Ward, a lot of people knocked that pick. He was the 4th overall pick back in the Baker Mayfield draft, but he's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Myles Garrett's one of the best defensive ends in the NFL. So if you add Earl Thomas to that with the talent they have on offense, I think that would help them a lot. That's a good fit for him. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other teams that would want him. I think the Eagles would. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure
they lost Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah. Well, apparently Denzel Mims is moving to safety now, but I mean that guy's a lost cause. Or not Denzel Mims. The guy with the green hair.
Which team are we talking about?
The Eagles, Mills or something.
Oh, Mills. Yeah, Jalen Mills or something.
Jalen Mills, yeah.
Yeah, because Malcolm Jenkins was always such a good safety. He would always make plays against the Giants. So I thought that was a good pickup for the Saints. The Saints are going to be really good. I can't wait for the Saints versus Bucs game. The first game.
I'm telling you, week 1, the New Orleans. There's just no way anyone's going to convince me New Orleans is not going to crush them the first week. Really? They have their whole offense built already. They all have been there for years. They're playing in the Superdome, where like Tom Brady's got 6 weeks to learn a whole new offense and all new receivers.
You know who Tom Brady's going to take advantage of in that game?
Who?
Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah.
Janoris Jenkins. Eli Apple's on the What?
I forgot they had Eli Apple and Janoris Jenkins at one point.
Yeah, Janoris Jenkins. Remember, he got roasted last year in the game you went to against. Yeah. So I'm sure they're not going to make him guard Mike Evans again because that was embarrassing last year.
Oh man, what do you want to call it from here?
Yeah, that's cool. I just heard my baby wake up. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but
no. Yeah. But the one thing that I kept staring at my phone because I think I realized that your phone is on like the table or whatever, and every time I hear it vibrate, I kept thinking it was mine, and I'm like, "Where is this notification?"
Oh, you could hear it? Yeah, because it is next to my microphone.
like slightly, and I kept like looking at my phone. I'm like, man, I'm
Uh,
supposed to have like 60 notifications right now.
yeah, that's the thing with me. I don't even want to know what my screen time is because I'm on my phone way too much. I used to get the notification for my screen
Aren't
time
we all?
in that app. Yeah, because sometimes I'll just have to put my phone in the other room and just like force myself not to check it because I've been on Twitter so much recently, like tweeting about giant stuff. So yeah,
Well, I'll let you get back to dad duties for the day.
yeah. Thanks, man.
No problem.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
having me
coming
on the
on.
show.